Today, I wish to consider theory concept for a chapter of admission of a new partner. Introduction and issues relevant to admission of a new partner. This is what I want to discuss. Now, observe the explanation and the presentation on the screen. We have studied in chapter number 3. The title is Reorganization of a Partnership. In that chapter number 3, we studied about the issues arising due to the changes in the profit sharing ratio. So what are the aspects to be considered when there is a change in the profit sharing ratio amongst partners? In case of admission of a partner, profit sharing ratio changes. So whatever the concepts that we have studied in chapter 3 are relevant to chapter 5, that is admission of a new partner. We have studied in chapter 4, that is goodwill, about valuation and accounting for goodwill in case of change in the profit sharing ratio. In case of admission of a partner, profit sharing ratio changes. So whatever the concepts that we have studied in chapter 4 for valuation and accounting for goodwill are relevant to chapter number 5 that we are going to study. In chapter 5, admission of a new partner is also a reorganization of a partnership. Means profit sharing ratio changes. Hence, all the concepts of chapter 3 and chapter 4 are relevant. Now next, how a new partner is admitted? Observe. A new partner can be admitted in an ongoing existing partnership form in two ways as per the Partnership Act. There are two ways to admit a new partner. One, all these two methods are prescribed under the Partnership Act. One, if all existing partners decide unanimously to admit a new partner. Suppose that A, B and C are the partners. Now the decision is to be taken, should we admit D as a partner, fourth partner? For that, majority rule can never prevail. So A and B says, yes, D is to be admitted. C says no. So there is a majority for admission of a D. But no decision can be taken by such majority. There should be a unanimous consent. So all the partners A, B and C should consent, should agree that yes, D is to be admitted, then and then D can be admitted. So there should be a unanimous decision. All the existing partners should consent to an admission of a new partner. Second, if the provision is there in the partnership agreement for admission of a new partner, on the basis of this provision, a new partner can be admitted in the existing partnership form. Now when the partnership deed or partnership agreement was entered into, at that time there was a common consent, total unanimous consent. At that time there was a total unanimous consent about the admission of a partner, and the stipulation as to that was drafted in the partnership deed. If such unanimous decision is already taken, in that situation, in light of that understanding, that agreement, a new partner can be admitted in a partnership form. Why a new partner is admitted? The following can be the reasons. For admitting a new partner in the existing partnership firm, when existing partnership firm needs additional capital, when existing partnership firm needs additional working capital, partnership firm requires workforce, partnership firm requires persons to work for the firm, then also a new partner can be admitted. When any partner retires or dies, admission of a new partner in his place. Now by death or retirement of any partner, the partnership firm may require capital as well as human force to work for the firm. So in such situation, there can be a partnership admission. And the fourth is a very important, the existence of a skilled and efficient employee of a firm is maintained. So there is an efficient employee in a firm. His existence, his continuance in the firm is desired, required to be maintained in the firm. By changing his status from an employee to a partner, so such employee is admitted as a partner. So his status in a firm changes from employee to a partner, and under such circumstances also, there can be an admission of a new partner to an existing firm. So, why new partner is admitted? These are the normal reasons that you have understood. Now I want to consider issues arising on admission of a new partner. Now, what is fundamentally happens when a new partner is admitted? One, he brings capital. One, he brings something more than capital known as premium or goodwill. They are the fundamental transaction that takes place at the time of admission of a partner. So when a new partner is admitted in a partnership firm, he has to bring predetermined amount as capital for getting his share in net assets of the firm in future. So by bringing capital in a partnership firm, a new partner becomes the co-owner of the assets and liabilities of the firm. And for acquiring such co-ownership in the existing assets and liabilities of the firm, new partner has to bring capital. And whatever the capital that he brings in form of cash or any other asset, in that cash or asset, he grants co-ownership or ownership to the existing partner. So there is a mutual exchange of ownership. And by that, all the partner becomes co-owner for the assets and liabilities of the firm. So when a new partner is admitted, he brings cash or some other asset as capital. In exchange, he grants whatever he brings, whatever the cash or something asset that he brings, he grants co-ownership to the existing partners. And the new partner acquires the co-ownership right in the net assets of the firm. Second, new partner has to bring his share for goodwill for getting share in the profits of the future. In the profits in future. Now when an existing partner are doing business since 10 years, so they earn profits not only normal but something more than normal profit. That is known as super profit. When a new partner is admitted, he gets a right to share not only normal profits but also super profit. And to have a share or to have a right in a share in a super profit, new partner has to bring something more than capital, which is known as premium or goodwill. So when a new partner is admitted, he brings capital to acquire ownership in the assets and liabilities of the firm, and new partner brings something more than capital, which is known as goodwill, to acquire a right to share profits of the firm in future. Due to admission of a new partner, the share of old partners in the profit reduces. Because the new partner gets a right to share the profits in the firm in future, which he receives from the old partners, hence determination of new profit sharing ratio of the partners and sacrificed share of old partners become very essential. Now see what happens when a new partner is admitted. When a new partner is admitted, he brings capital, he brings cash for goodwill. Second, By admission of a new partner, the profit sharing ratio changes. New partner acquire a right to share the profits. Now whatever the right to share in profit acquired by the new partner is availed by him from the sacrifice made by the old partners. In addition, at the time of admission of a new partner, the revaluation of assets and liabilities of the partnership firm is done to ensure just and equitable distribution of profit, which is discussed in chapter 3, reorganization of the firm. So when a partner is admitted, profit sharing ratio changes. What is the precaution that should be considered? Whatever the profits in the firm till the date of admission should be distributed amongst old partners in the old ratio, and whatever the profit occurs after the admission of a firm, after the admission of a partner in a firm, those profits after admission should be distributed amongst all the partners in the new profit sharing ratio. So we are required to determine how much profit existed till the date of change in the profit sharing ratio. For that, we are required to go for revaluation of assets and liabilities. We are required to find out the profit that existed before admission, and that profit will be distributed amongst old partners in the old profit sharing ratio. So we are required to go for revaluation of assets and liabilities that we have studied in chapter 3. Now, on the basis of this discussion, the accounting treatment of the issues related to admission of a new partner can be described as follows. So these are the various points that's what occurs at the time of admission of a partner. On the basis of that, which are the theory matters that we should learn and consider for the purpose of this chapter. First, determination of the new profit sharing ratio, calculation of sacrifice ratio of the old partners, goodwill and its accounting treatment for revaluation of assets and liabilities, accounting treatment for accumulated reserves and profit, that also we have studied in chapter 3, and changes in capital. So these are the various issues we are required to learn in this chapter. Out of this first 1 and 2, for it, that I am going to explain in my next theory lecture number 2, in which these two aspects will be explained to you. How a new profit sharing ratio is determined, or how the sacrificing ratio is worked out, that will be discussed in lecture number 3, theory lecture number 2, that is a lecture after this lecture. Goodwill and its accounting treatment will be discussed in lecture 3, theory lecture 3. So these 3 points I am going to consider later on. Now I want to consider from 4th point onwards, accounting treatment for revaluation of assets and liabilities, accounting treatment for accumulated resources and changes in capital. These 3 points I want to discuss in this first lecture. Now out of these 2 are just repetition that you studied in chapter 3. Let me repeat and remind you. Accounting treatment for revaluation of assets and liabilities. The existing profits and losses till the date of admission of a partner are distributed in old ratio. Old ratio means what? Profit sharing ratio before admission of a partner. That's the definition of old ratio. Profits and losses subsequent to the date of admission of a partner are distributed in the new ratio. New ratio means profit sharing ratio after admission. Now for the purpose of finding out the profit till the date of admission, partners revalue the assets and liabilities for finding out the existing profits and losses till the date of admission of a partner. A revaluation account is open to record the effects of the revaluation account is open to record the effects for these revaluations. This account is known as profit and loss adjustment account also. So revaluation account, the other name is profit and loss adjustment account. You have studied how to prepare profit and loss adjustment account in chapter 3. I will just remind all those concepts in brief, then I will proceed further to the next point. This is my revaluation account, the other name is profit and loss adjustment account. Decrease in value of asset, decrease in the balance sheet value of asset is a loss debited. Increase in liability is also a loss debited to revaluation account. unrecorded liability not shown in the balance sheet that we have paid or required to be paid or payable, that also debited to revaluation account. Increase in provision, increase in bad debt reserve provision, just for example, is also debited to revaluation account. So these are the various changes in the balance sheet value is debited to revaluation account. Increase in value of asset being gained, credited to revaluation account. Decrease in liability gain, credited to revaluation account. Unrecorded asset realized or realizable value of unrecorded asset credited to realization, credited to not realization account, revaluation account or profit and loss adjustment account. And decline or decrease in provision is also credited to revaluation account. After recording this adjustment, we are required to find out the difference between the amount debited and amount credited. Suppose if the total of credit is more than total of debit, then it is known as profit. Excess of credit over debit is known as profit. This profit is distributed and credited to old partner's capital account in the old ratio. So this profit is distributed in the old ratio between old partners, so between the partners who existed before the admission of a new partner. By chance, suppose the total of debit is more than total of credit, then total of debit is more than total of credit is known as loss. This loss is also distributed and debited to the capital accounts of the old partners in the old ratio. Distributed and debited to old partners capital account in old ratio. This is how it is being done. Now understand that. This is what you learn in chapter number 3 also. Now by giving the effect of this revaluation, the balance sheet value of assets and liabilities which were subject to revaluation changes. So values of assets and liabilities changes because of this revaluation adjustment. And whatever the profit or loss is there, that is given to the old partners in the old ratio. Now, we don't wish or there is no desire of partners to change the book value of assets and liabilities which have been revalued. So they don't want to change the values of assets and liabilities, balance sheet values of assets and liabilities. They have to be kept intact as it is. And even then they want to give an effect of profit before admission to the partner's capital account in the old ratio. How to do that? For that, the important additional technique to ensure these objects. Which are the objects? We don't want to change the values of assets and liabilities, and we want to give the effect of revaluation profit to the capital accounts of the partners. And both the objects can be achieved by preparing memoranda revaluation account. Now the new additional concept that I want to discuss is about memoranda revaluation account. Observe on the screen. Memoranda revaluation account accounts for revaluation of assets and liabilities without changing book values of these assets and liabilities at the time of admission of a partner or reconstruction of a firm. So this principle, this concept of memoranda revaluation can be applied to chapter 3 also, where there is a change in the profit sharing ratio of the existing partner. The same concept can be applied to a retirement chapter, next chapter, chapter number 6, retirement of a partner. And this concept might as well applicable to chapter number 5, admission of a partner, because all three are the reconstruction of partnership. For this purpose, to achieve this object, what is the object? We don't wish to change the book values of the assets and liabilities, and we want to give the effect of revaluation profit to the capital accounts of the partners. For this purpose, memoranda revaluation account is prepared in 2 parts. Now in first part, any increase or decrease in value of assets and liabilities due to revaluation will be recorded, and arising profit and loss will be transferred to the partner's capital account in the whole profit sharing ratio. This is what I have explained to you just before a couple of minutes, and that you have studied even in chapter 3. So first part of memoranda revaluation account is exactly alike to the revaluation account that you have studied so far in chapter number 3, and the same concept has been repeated just before a couple of minutes here before you, wherein I have prepared revaluation account or profit and loss adjustment account. That revaluation account is a segment, is a first part of memorandum revaluation account. Now in second part. Now in second part, the revaluation account. In the second part of revaluation account, the lower part of revaluation account, all given accounting treatment in first part will be reversed, brought back. So whatever the changes that you made in the first part is to be reversed. So increase in value of asset will be identified as decrease in the value of asset. Increase in value of liability will be identified as decrease in the value of liability in the second part. So whatever the changes that you have implemented in the first part has to be reversed in the second part, brought back. And arising losses or profits. See, I write losses or profits. So in the first part there is a profit, in the second part it will be a loss. In the first part it is a loss, in the second part will be a profit. So here I write arising profit or loss. Here I write arising loss or profit. That's an important consideration that you should keep in mind. So an arising loss or profit will be transferred to all partners capital account. So all partners means including new partner after admission, all partners capital account, including new partner in the new profit sharing ratio. So the second part, loss or profit, whatever it may be, will be distributed amongst all the partners in the new profit sharing ratio. So this is how memorandum revaluation account is prepared. Since all revaluation accounting treatment are reverted back from the first phase to second phase, from first part to second part, assets and liabilities would remain unaffected after revaluation. Therefore, all assets and liabilities would appear at old value in the books of the firm. This is how memorandum revaluation account gets prepared. We will prepare memorandum revaluation account while solving the sum from exercise. So this is how revaluation concept is that you have studied in chapter number 3, and the additional points thereat is being explained here in this theory session. Next. Accounting treatment of accumulated reserves and profit. This, what you have studied in chapter number 3, same is applicable over here. The existing undistributed profit losses are disclosed in balance sheet till the date of admission of a partner are distributed in the old ratio, that is profit sharing ratio before admission. Now at the time of admission, before admission, whatever the undistributed profits are there on the liability side will be distributed in the old ratio. And whatever the losses, accumulated losses that appears on the asset side of the balance sheet, that is there before admission balance sheet, if there is on the asset side, if there is an accumulated loss, say debit balance of profit and loss account, that also will be distributed amongst partners in their old profit sharing ratio. Just observe. General reserve appears on the liability side. Profit and loss account credit balance appears on the liability side. Workmen compensation fund without liability appears on the liability side. All are accumulated profits. Capital reserve, if at all there, that is also undistributed profit. Similarly, profit and loss account debit balance, if at all it be there, that appears on the asset, that this is an instance of loss. Now all these are undistributed profits. They are distributed and credited to old partners capital account in the old ratio. This is what you have studied in chapter number 3 also. And this being loss, distributed and debited to old partners capital account in the old ratio. This is how accumulated, undistributed profits and losses are accounted for at the time of admission of a partner. Now next concept that I want to discuss is changes in capital. Observe. Changes in capital. Sometimes after the admission of a new partner, old partners keep their capital in a new profit sharing ratio. So on admission of a new partner, how much capital new partner is required to bring, that is agreed. And on the basis of that capital brought by a new partner, that is taken as a standard, that is taken as a base. And we are required to determine the capital of old partners on that basis. And the actual capital of the old partner may be more or less than required of such calculated capital. Then if their capital is more, the additional capital will be refunded. Or if there is a short capital which is short for any old partner, he has to bring cash. This is one way of capital adjustment. The another way of capital adjustment, or to determine the capital of a new partner in a profit and loss ratio on the basis of capital of old partners, will be taken into consideration. Remember two aspects. The total capital of all old partners in an existing firm will be considered as the base, as the standard. And in light of that, how much capital is required to be brought by a new partner? That is also another type of capital adjustment. So in first type of capital adjustment, amount to be brought by new partner is decided. On that basis, capital required by old partners is determined. In the second type, on the basis of capital of old partners, how much capital is required to be brought by a new partner? These are the two types of capital adjustment may be asked to you in exam. Which are the two types? Capital brought by a new partner is taken as the base and the capital required by old partner is determined. The second type, capital of old partner is taken as the base and how much capital is required to be brought by a new partner is determined. This is the second type. I want to explain by taking one illustration the second part. Just wait a while. Before I take the illustration, if the actual capital is more than calculated means required capital, the additional capital will be returned to a partner, or alternatively in case of current account, this can be credited to the current accounts of the partners. And if the actual capital is less than the calculated or required capital, the balancing figure will be brought by a partner in cash, or alternatively in case of current account, this can be debited to the current account. In this context, the following journal entries will be passed. I am going to take one illustration and I am going to pass the journal entries in light of this explanation. Look at the illustration that I want to consider now. The illustration is based on this concept. To determine the capital to be brought by a new partner on the basis of capital of old partners. Just observe the illustration. Naram and Garam are partners. There is a spelling mistake. Are partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 4:5. They admitted Sharam as a new partner with 1/5 share in profit. Sharam is to bring net assets of the firm as his capital contribution. Sharam is to bring of net assets of the firm as his capital contribution. So he is to bring proportionate capital. Net assets means assets and liabilities. That is the total capital of existing old partners. On the basis of that, he is to bring necessary capital. That's a suggestion, indirect way of seeing the things. After giving effects of all adjustments on admission of Sharam, the capital of Naram and Garam stood at rupees 55,000 and 35,000 respectively. Determine the capital to be brought by new partner Sharam, and in new ratio, what should be the capital of Naram and Garam. Now, observe. First, I will find out the new profit sharing ratio. Naram and Garam are the partners. sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 4:5. 4 by 9, 5 by 9. This is the whole share of Naram and Garam. Sharam is admitted with 1/5 share in profit. So 1/5 share is to be given to Sharam. So out of profit 5, 1 is given to Sharam. So what is the profit left for Naram and Garam? 4/5. Out of 5, 4/5. So 1 minus 1 by 5. 4/5 is the profit left. That 4/5 profit will be distributed between Naram and Garam in the ratio of 4:5. So 4/5 into 4 by 9 is the new share of Naram. That is 16 upon 45. Now what is the new share of Garam? Now they have given 1/5 share to Sharam. 1 minus 1/5. So 4/5 is the remaining share. And in this 4/5 share, Garam gets in the ratio of 4:5, 5/9 of 4/5. So 20 upon 45 is the share of Garam. Now here the denominator is 45. Here the denominator is 45. I want to make this 1 by 5 with denominator 45. So I am required to multiply 1 by 5, 9 into 9. So 9 upon 45. So the new profit sharing ratio is 16:20:9. That is the new profit sharing ratio. This is the new profit sharing ratio. Now how much capital is required to be brought by Sharam? That is a proposed capital. So for that, we have to take the capital of Naram and Garam as the base. What is their capital after adjustments? 55,000 plus 35,000 is the total capital of Naram and Garam. So total capital is 90,000. For how much share in profit? 16 plus 20. 36 is the share in profit. For that they have contributed capital of 90,000. So what is the proposed amount of capital to be contributed by Sharam for having a share of ₹9? Let me work out the capital required to be brought by Sharam. For 36 share in profit, capital contributed is 90,000. How much capital required to be contributed to have a share of ₹9? If you work out 90,000 into 9 by 36, that works out to be 22,500 is the capital required to be brought by Sharam. So capital required for Sharam is 22,500. Now I want to work out the proposed capital of Naram and Garam. Observe. I want to find out the required capital or capital required to be maintained in profit sharing ratio by Naram. So 36 is the share in profit, therefore for that total capital is 90,000. How much for 16 to be share in profit? So if you work it out, 90,000 into 16 upon 36. So the capital required for Naram is 40,000. Now what is his actual capital? 55,000. What is the capital required in the new profit sharing ratio? 40,000. His capital, actual capital is more than required. So he will be redeemed. The additional capital, excess capital will be redeemed. Now what is the capital required for Garam? Once again, same style of working. For total profit 36, 90,000 is the capital. How much for share of 20 rupees? That works out to be 55,000. This is the capital required for Garam. What is his actual capital? 35,000. What is the capital required to be maintained in the new profit sharing ratio? 50,000. How much is the short? How much capital is short? 15,000. Then Garam has to bring. And for that, I'll show you how the journal entry gets recorded. If the capital of old partner is more than determined amount on the basis of new profit sharing ratio, either cash is paid or credited to the current capital account. Observe, this is what we have worked out. For Naram, required capital is 40,000, actual capital 55,000. Actual capital is more, so he is to be given refund. He is given capital back. How much? 15,000. Now we give back to whom? Naram. Naram's capital account debit to cash account. This is one style. Or alternatively, you can write Naram's capital account debit to Naram's current capital account. This current capital account concept that you have studied in chapter number 1. Now, if the capital of old partner is less than determined amount on the basis of new profit sharing ratio, the partner has to bring cash for the same or is debited to the current account of the partner. Following journal entries are passed. Now say the instance of Gaurav. What is his actual capital? 35,000. What is the required capital? 50,000. How much capital? Actual capital is short by 15,000. He has to pay. The journal entry for that is cash account debit 15,000 to Gaurav's capital account credit 15,000. Or alternatively, instead of debiting cash account, you can debit the current capital account of Gaurav to Gaurav's capital account. Fixed capital account is credited. This is an alternative style of writing that. This is how the capital adjustment is accounted for. Now, I have tried to explain you the various issues that arise at the time of admission of a partner. In subsequent lectures, I am going to consider how the new profit sharing ratio and sacrifice ratio gets worked out, how the accounting for goodwill is done. It will be taken care of in the third lecture. I feel that you have followed all these things. Thanks to all of you.